Thanks for inviting us in. It's 11 o'clock and we want to begin tonight with that police shooting. It all unfolded this afternoon, drawing a massive police presence to the CVS at 16th and Meridian, just blocks away from our TV station. Our Chase Howell was one of the first reporters to the scene where he learned an officer was hit by a car before another officer fired his gun. Chase?
IMPD says the officer was actually stuck in between the inverted door of that SUV and the wall of that CVS when the driver backed it up. That's when they say a second officer fired his gun, shooting the driver in the arm.
Pop, 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 pop. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That's what one woman says she heard coming from the CVS drive-thru at 16th and Meridian Thursday afternoon. She says the next thing she knew, police were everywhere and someone was on the ground.
It bugs me because you don't know if it's like a cop that got hurt or if it's a person that got hurt, but somebody got hurt and you just hope that they're okay.
IMPD says officers were called there for a welfare check. When police arrived, they say a man was found unresponsive in this SUV. After police were able to wake him, they say he was cooperating, but then things took a turn when he jumped back into the driver's seat.
The officer near the driver's side of the car then grabbed the suspect's arm and told him to get out of the car. At that point, the suspect reversed the vehicle, pinning the officer between the vehicle and the wall, striking the officer with the driver's side door.
That's when IMPD says another officer fired his gun. Meanwhile, those watching nearby say they saw a person in uniform dragging the officer who was hit behind a police car. Come to find out, that person was a medic who was also called to the scene.
When things went south, they didn't run, they stood there, including running and dragging this officer to safety. So it's extraordinary work, and I can't wait to talk to that person myself and provide my thanks to him.
IMPD says no other officers or people were hurt during the shooting. Police say the officer that was involved in the shooting has been put on administrative leave, which is standard in any officer-involved shooting. But again, both the officer and the person involved were sent to the hospital and are expected to be okay. Reporting here in Indianapolis, Chase Howell, 13 News.
Now, we just reviewed data from IMPD. Now, according to the numbers, this is the 13th police shooting involving this department this year. Now, between those cases, 14 people were hit by police gunfire. 8 people died. 6 suspects survived. You can see our coverage of all these cases, including the locations and the names of the officers involved. We've got it all posted on WTHR.com. Tonight at 11, police are asking neighbors to look for security video that could help them in a shooting investigation on the near northeast side of Indianapolis. Want to show you the scene around 6:30 tonight. This is along Browse Avenue near 34th and Keystone. Tonight, investigators are telling us they got multiple calls about a fight happening in the street. So when they got there, they found a man with at least 1 gunshot wound. At last check, he was stable. Right now, officers are working to piece together what happened. If you have any information that can help detectives, please call IMPD or Crime Stoppers. Phone numbers on your screen. Tonight, the City County Council Committee looking into complaints against members of the Joe Hogsett administration met for the first time since hiring an outside law firm. Members of the investigative committee tonight are looking at the handling of sexual harassment allegations within the mayor's administration and Hogsett's campaign. Fisher Phillips is a law firm based in Chicago. It will conduct the investigation. The committee will oversee it. Angela?
Scott, still cloudy skies across central Indiana and still a few pockets of drizzle. You don't see a lot with live Doppler 13 radar, but a little bit of shower activity moving just to the northeast of downtown Indianapolis. And a lot of what we have is very light that the radar isn't even picking it up. But clouds and drizzle tonight, even into the early part of tomorrow. Temperatures right now in the upper 40s and low 50s. We have 49 Indianapolis, 50 Muncie, 51 Shelbyville, and 49 degrees in Bloomington and Bedford. Because of the thick cloud deck, temperatures nearly steady, upper 40s and low 50s. There will be areas of drizzle early tomorrow morning, then mainly cloudy skies, 54.
Angela, thanks. So since we've got that chance for fog tomorrow morning and warmer weather on the way for the weekend, you can keep track of all of it on your phone. The WTHR weather app gives you access to the hourly forecast plus our weather blog. It's a free download and you can get it in the App Store.
I just kept seeing the same picture over and over again of this violent crash and my son being dead and being cut cut out of the car.
Heartbreaking testimony today as a Marine veteran is sentenced for a crash that killed a Fishers kindergarten teacher and her husband. Tonight we're also getting a first look at the wreck. Jamie Heredia was speeding and caused the crash more than 2 years ago in Lawrence. Ashley and Grant Lansdale had just left a doctor's appointment. They were pulling onto 56th from Glen Road at the time. Investigators say the data from Heredia's government-issued car shows he was going nearly 80, 1 second before he hit the Lansdale's car. The speed limit there is 40. Heredia pleaded guilty last month. He asked the families to forgive him. Many of the victims' loved ones and colleagues filled the courtroom.
You took a son, a brother, a husband, a father, an uncle, a teacher, a comedian, a mentor and a friend to countless others. And in many ways, the worst thing you did was to take his music away from the world. 11 July was the day that the music died for all of us.
The judge sentenced Heredia to 5 years in prison plus 3 years probation. The prosecution had asked for an 8-year sentence. Tonight, a man is formally charged with murder more than 2 years after a deadly home invasion on the northeast side of Indianapolis. Police say Naya Ruffin was shot and killed back in April of 2022 when several men broke into her apartment near 56th and Emerson. Now, according to the court documents, police took DNA samples from the scene. And now here we are years later, IMPD is finally able to connect those samples to 19-year-old Octavian Long. Tonight, there's a warrant out for his arrest on charges of murder, burglary, and robbery. Tonight, the Indiana Attorney General is suing an East Side apartment complex, saying the owners of Hubbard Gardens have not provided livable conditions for tenants. The people we've talked to agree. They tell us there is mold, bugs, and sewage problems. Residents shared these photos with 13 News. You can see the mold here, sinks overflowing, and dumpsters with trash spilling into a parking lot. The people living at Hubbard Gardens tell us they hope this lawsuit brings about change.
It really ain't safe for people, to be honest with you. They say it is, but it ain't. It really ain't.
13 News went to the management office to ask about that lawsuit. We were directed to reach out to corporate. We haven't heard back yet. The Attorney General tonight is asking for more tenants to come forward. Here's a look at the other stories making headlines right now. Tonight, a Hamilton County widow is suing IMPD after her 83-year-old husband died following a crash during a police chase. Back in April, IMPD says an officer saw a person shoot a woman near Bertha Ross Park, get into an SUV, and then leave. That sparked the pursuit. The 83-year-old was in an Uber when the suspect slammed into the car. The man died from his injuries. The driver was charged with resisting law enforcement and reckless driving. Tonight, police in Kokomo are trying to find the people who were in this Ford SUV. Investigators believe someone connected to it shot a young man on Tuesday night. That 18-year-old victim tonight is in critical condition at a hospital here in Indianapolis. Right now, the FBI is asking for help identifying this man in these pictures. They're calling him John Doe 49. Agents believe he may have some critical information related to the identity of a child victim in an ongoing sexual exploitation investigation. We've got a full description of the man right now on WTHR.com. In Indiana, law banning gender-affirming care for minors remains in effect tonight. An appeals court ruled the law's restrictions do not infringe on the constitutional rights of transgender children, their parents, or medical providers. Indiana is one of 26 states that restricts gender-affirming treatment for minors. Remember, you can find all of our latest local stories anytime on our 13 News app.